Hey YouTube, it's Prep for Life. Today I wanted to start talking about emergency preparedness basics. I talk to people all the time who want to get started down the road of prepping. They see things happening in the world, they want to get their families a little bit more ready, but they don't quite know where to start. And it's an intimidating road to start down. So I'm starting a series to cover the very basics of emergency preparedness for a family. What you can do to get a little bit more prepared without drastically changing your day-to-day activities and without breaking the bank. So stick with me, and today we're going to start by talking about water. Being that water is one of the most important items for emergency preparedness, it's where I wanted to start off first. You can go a lot longer without food than you can without water. When I was younger, I had a chance to live in Siberia, providing some religious service to the people there. Having grown up in the United States, it was a little bit of an adjustment for me, but I learned a ton. These amazing Russian people were not living in a third world country by any stretch, but they had to practice daily emergency preparedness to get by due to the ongoing economic struggles of the time. There were rolling blackouts, and the water would typically come on once a day for an hour or two. So we had to learn to get creative to avoid getting into a bind with our day-to-day tasks. For example, how do you make sure that you can go to the bathroom when you need to? Wash your clothes, take a shower, or most importantly, stay hydrated when the water source is intermittent. In most of the world, these aren't issues that we're facing on a day-to-day basis, but it's smart to prepare for natural disasters that could put you in those situations. And the answer is storage. And the more you can store, the better off you'll be for that type of situation. We learned to save up every plastic bottle we could find, and when the water turned on, we would fill all of them up and then find creative ways to store them around our apartment. Luckily, this is a fairly easy problem to prepare for through everyday grocery shopping. Water is a relatively inexpensive item to buy in most parts of the world. Where I live, gallon jugs of purified or distilled water are usually less than $1 at the grocery store. For a few more cents above that, I know Arrowhead and some of the other manufacturers sell more of a rounded gallon jug that is made of a stronger plastic and seems to last a little bit better as well. Many of the grocery stores and even Costco and Sam's Club sell big packs of bottled water. And those are a little bit more portable if you're putting together go bags, 72-hour kits. They can be a little bit more of a useful feature, but know that the plastic on those bottles is a little bit thinner and there is a more likelihood of them breaking. Just make sure to rotate the water every 6 months to a year to avoid the plastic breaking down or chemicals leaking into the jugs. And it's pretty easy to use a Sharpie to simply mark the bottles as to when you bought them and when you need to rotate. The recommended amount of water storage is about 1 gallon per person per day. If you're just getting into emergency preparedness, I recommend starting with a 3-day goal. 72 hours is the average time it takes for emergency services to arrive after a natural disaster. So just take the number of people in your household, multiply by 3, and you're off to a good start. For our family of 5, a 3-day supply means 15 gallons of water. At the time of this video, that's a $15 investment that I could make on one trip to the grocery store or spread out over a couple of trips. It's relatively inexpensive to get that stored away, just find a good place in your house to store them. And that's a great first step toward being self-sufficient. With everything we talk about on this series, we're going to always start with a 3-day supply, that 72-hour kit. Once you get a foothold, most people start shooting for a larger goal. Let's say a week, a few weeks, a month, even a few months, and if you're brave, shoot for a year. Believe it or not, it gets kind of addicting once you get on this path. For example, once we had stored up several gallons of water, we decided we wanted to get into a little bit larger storage method. These 50-gallon jugs are usually about $50 a piece, and when you fill them up, just make sure to treat with a little bit of bleach. We're going to get more into detail on that when we get into purification and filters. Just know that this is a handy option when you want to take that emergency preparedness to the next level. I hope you found this video useful. Please remember to like and subscribe down below the video, and feel free to share with your friends or anybody who is leaning toward wanting to be more prepared for an emergency. Stay tuned for the next videos we have coming up in this series.